You can't see these and tell me one doesn't look better. Apple has a pretty big problem on their hands, and it's been going on for a while. This $3,000 laptop is hiding something that they don't really want you to think about, but it's right in front of your eyes. There's no real other way to say it. This webcam is kind of trash. And it's not just a problem with this year's laptop, this is a problem Apple has had for years. And it's to the point that even Apple knows it's a problem because instead of fixing it, they just want you to use this instead. But there's a better way. What if you could take the whole Apple experience and bring that over to a webcam that's the best you've ever used? Well, that's what Opal is claiming they have done. And when they reached out to sponsor this video, well, I wanted to put it to the test. So this is their first product, the Opal C1, and you may have seen this floating around. There's been a ton of influential people that have talked about it, including MKBHD, Casey Neistat, and a bunch of other ones. So considering they seem to love this thing and people like MKBHD actually put their money behind it, well, it definitely piqued my interest and wanted to check it out. And like I said, Opal is really trying to bring a high-end experience here, and that starts from the moment you get the box in your hand. It's very clean, minimal, and just has what you need and nothing else. So you get the webcam itself, which is very uniquely designed, but I'll talk much more about that in a second. You also get some instructions. You get this nice coiled USB-C cable to connect it to your computer. You get this stand, which connects to the camera with this quarter 20 thread, and you get a little screwdriver so that you can attach it all together. And that's all you really get in the box, but it really shows that Opal is a design-forward company, and they want you to have a good experience from the moment you get the box open. Now, the design of the packaging is great and all, but that doesn't mean it's better than what's already in your laptop or your phone or whatever other webcam you're already using. But that is where the hardware of this camera comes in. Design-wise, the C1 is built really well. It comes in two colors, this white version, and there's also a black version. And it has this kind of textured, almost like splattered paint look on it, which I think is really unique. I've never seen this on anything before. And it's made out of aluminum, so it has this nice hefty feel. On the back, you've got this heatsink design, and then on the front, you have a bunch of these holes, which is where the microphones live. But overall, the attention to detail with the hardware design is about as good as it gets. From that paint texture finish, like I mentioned, all the way to things like a magnetic lens cover, so you can keep the lens cover safe or keep it covered for privacy. They've really thought of everything on the hardware side, but of course, the main thing you want to know about is that camera and how it performs. So this is a 4K half-inch Sony sensor, which, considering this is a webcam, that is definitely punching above its weight class. It also has an f1.8 lens, so that it hopefully will do a little bit better in low light situations, which often is the case when you're taking calls. And this camera package is really just made to give you the highest quality possible. But of course, on the other end of the spectrum, especially when you're taking things like Zoom calls or FaceTime calls or whatever, you obviously want to be able to hear and also be heard. And like I mentioned, it has all these holes, which is where the microphones live. And it's actually using an array microphone. And these multiple microphones are there to give you something they call mic mesh. But the whole idea here is that it will do noise cancellation because of the microphones on the front, and there's even one on the back so that it can detect the world around it, cancel out some of that noise, and just focus on your voice. Now, before we get to the camera test comparing this to everything else, it's also important to talk about kind of the other section of this, which is the software. This gives you kind of the ultimate control over what the Opal C1 can do. You could do things like change the exposure, change the white balance, adjust the sharpness, all that kind of stuff, just like you would a regular camera, you can do with a webcam as well. But you can also do some more, fun or useful effects, like it can lock onto your face so that no matter where you move, it follows you. You could do a bokeh effect that is pretty realistic, I'll have to say. And there's some like graphic overlays where you can put text or different things on screen. Personally, not something I'm ever going to be using, but at least it's there if that's something that you'd want. But yeah, this software system has a lot built in, but what's even more interesting about this is that all the computation, all of the, bokeh, the graphics, all that stuff is actually happening on the camera itself. The software is just kind of how you control it. This is using an Intel Myriad X chip inside, and it's doing all of that machine learning, everything in the webcam itself, so that you're not really taxing your computer, you're just kind of getting an interface to control everything. So from hardware to software, Opal is really putting themselves out there with everything they've got with the C1. But how does it compare to other cameras? So to put this to kind of the ultimate test, I've got the built-in webcam from the MacBook Pro, I've got continuity camera with the iPhone, and I have the Insta360 Link, which is probably its closest competitor. Okay, so this here is the Opal C1, so you can see what the quality looks like. And overall, I think it's great. It's 4K, so it's very sharp. Obviously, if you're using other programs that are like streaming video, like Zoom, it's obviously going to compress that, so it's not going to look quite as sharp as this, but the fact that you can even do that to begin with is a nice bonus. And you're also listening to the microphone on the C1. It's about 2 feet away from me right now, so you can see how that sounds as well. And I'm not doing anything in the post-processing or anything like this. This is straight out of the camera, whatever it's doing. And right off the bat, I do notice a few things just in this recording. First is that the exposure seems to be changing quite a bit. Even though I have auto exposure off, it should be locked, but it's still changing as I move around. Kind of a little issue there, but that could probably be bugged out in software. And another little issue that I had is the focus. The autofocus does work, like it will change focus depending on where it is, but you can see it's a little slow and it's not locking in on my hand. It's more here on my arm, and then when I put it back to my face, it doesn't always hit it correctly. It's a little bit of an issue there. But like I said, this can all be controlled manually, so if you want to lock in your settings, you can do that. But I think the software is probably where there needs to be a little bit more work done here. But now you can see what the quality is, so let's compare it to something else. Now this is probably what you're used to. This is the built-in camera and microphone from my MacBook Pro. This is the M1 version, but that hasn't changed with the latest version. And for how big the notch is, you'd expect the camera quality to be a little bit better than this. This only goes up to 1080p, and it just looks mushy. It's not very good. They've tried to do as much as they can in software, but you can see here, it just doesn't compare in terms of detail and quality. Now what you're looking at here is what Apple's solution to their crappy webcam is, which is continuity camera, which uses your iPhone. And as you can tell, the quality is great. There's no way around it. But what I don't like about this is that it uses your phone. I mean, it is a nice nifty solution and it does work for sure. But for me, not being able to use my computer and my phone while taking a meeting is something I don't really want to do. I like having my phone available so I can take notes, look things up, anything like that. So the fact that I have to use that as the camera and I can't use it for anything else is a little bit of a bummer, but it is at least a nice feature that Apple has included so that you don't have to use the built-in trash that they have. But it's still not the best solution, I don't think. This is probably the biggest competitor, I think, to the Opal C1, which is the Insta360 Link. I've actually made a full video on this before, and really the main thing here is not so much the image quality, although I think it is pretty good, but more so that it has that gimbal so it can follow you around. But from a pure image quality standpoint, I do think this holds its own pretty well, and you can hear the microphones as well. Don't also think those are as good, but yeah, you let me know. So that is the Opal C1 compared to pretty much everything else, or at least all the competition that I would consider using. And they each kind of have their own pros and cons. I think with the Opal C1, the biggest thing is that this is a new company and that they are still working on things like the software. But from an image quality perspective, I think they've hit it out of the park. But I mean, it's really not up to me. You can see all the other cameras here next to each other. So check out what they look like, also what they sound like, and let me know which one you think is the best. There's no denying that the C1 is packing a lot of punch. From a design perspective to a software and image quality perspective, this is really the whole package. And yes, there are things that could be updated and could be fixed, but considering Opal is really listening to customers, I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. So if you want to pick one of these up for yourself, learn more about it, I'll leave links down below in the description. All the info you need will be there. But I mean, yeah, it's 2023, and instead of me being excited about the next new technology, I'm excited about the latest webcam. But that's because I think they hit it out of the park.